I hear women say when they're over 50 or even over 40 maybe, that they feel like they're invisible, like they're not seen anymore. In fact, I've even watched whole TV shows about that. I remember there was a Dr. Phil show about women saying they felt invisible over 50. And sometimes I've scoffed at that, but other times I felt it too. So I think it's time we talk about it. Hello ladies, welcome to today's video. I tell you what, we're going to have a conversation today. I have a little bit of B-roll to show you, but we're also going to just be talking. In fact, if you probably wanted to just put on your earbuds and go for a walk while you play this video, you'd be okay. I do have some things to show you, but mostly I'd like for us to discuss this topic of feeling invisible over 50. I think it's important to talk about, and I actually do have 10 tips for how to feel more seen. It is a commonly felt phenomenon to feel a little invisible as we get older. I don't think that's anything new with our generation. I think that's probably how a lot of women have felt throughout the years. And while I think some of that is natural, you know, as younger people begin to make their mark in the world and take center stage, I also don't think we have to be completely incognito. I think we do need to keep showing up. And so I do have 10 tips. Some of them have to do with beauty, some have to do with fashion, but a good many of them have to do more with the inner woman and some ways of thinking about things and some ways of interacting with other people. I'm going to ask you to indulge me on this one thing. Please stay with me all the way through the video. I think it's really important not to take any of these tips as the tip. I think I've got 10 tips and I could not pick, well, I can pick which one is most important, but of the other 9, I could not possibly pick which one is most important. I don't think one of these things is going to fix the situation for us. I think it's going to take all of these. So I hope you'll listen all the way through. Before we get going on those 10 tips, I'd like to share with you about our sponsor today. And really, I had been mulling over this topic for a while, but I chose today to talk about it because City Beauty was sponsoring today's video. They are a pro-aging brand. They address the concerns that we have with our skin, lips, and features as we age. Things like thinning lips, thinning lashes and brows, crepey skin, sagging skin, wrinkles. Oh, do I need to go on? City Beauty addresses those issues so that you can have more confidence in your appearance and keep showing up. And really, I do think confidence is part of the key here. As a Leaping Bunny and PETA certified brand, City Beauty offers 100% cruelty-free products while also using some of the best clean, research-based ingredients in the world. Their products contain 0 parabens, sulfates, phthalates, harsh fillers, and animal-tested ingredients. But they get you stunning results with every application. So some of my favorite City Beauty products, of course, you've heard me talk about them even just recently, are the City Lips Lip Plumping Glosses and my Beyond Mascara. I love those. I use them every day. I use that City Beauty C Lips Plumping Gloss before I put on any of the rest of my makeup just to kind of get that plumping going. And then I use some over my lipstick like I have today too. It really just adds some shine, but most importantly, it keeps my lips healthy. Speaking of keeping my lips healthy, another product that I really just can't live without at this point is the City Lips Night Oil. I apply it every night. It feels so good. It smells so good. I just love it. And I really do think it has improved the health of my lips. It's helped to reduce the visible lines and wrinkles that I had around my mouth. And I've noticed too that especially with those City Beauty City Lips lip plumpers, I've really learned to apply them even to the outer edges of my mouth and to the corners to plump up those areas. And it helps to diminish those lines and little crevices that I have there around my mouth. I also really depend on City Lash to keep my lashes healthier, to keep them from falling out, from getting brittle. It really helps just keep them healthier so that they stay where they're supposed to stay. I'm also a big fan of their Restoring Hand treatment. It's a hand lotion, but I tell you what, this works like nothing else, and it has staying power. I feel it working on my hands longer than other hand creams I've used. So those are my favorites. And the good news is that right now, during the Black Friday and Cyber Monday time, so from now through November 27th, you can get 40% off site-wide at City Beauty. No coupon necessary, but I do hope you'll go through my link below. But not only that, if you order $50 or more, then you're going to get free shipping, and they always have a 60-day money-back guarantee. Thank you to City Beauty for sponsoring today's video. Like I said, they are a pro-aging brand, and I love that. So here's the thing, you probably fall into one of two camps. You either need to feel heard more, or you need to feel seen more. Think about that. Which one of those would you say you need more, to feel heard or to feel seen? Interestingly, it turns out that most men need to feel heard more, and most women have a need to feel seen more. But that's not cut and dry. You may have the need to feel heard more, but I kind of think that, knowing most of the women I know, I think most of us would say we do need to feel seen. And I think that's one of the reasons why, as we get older, we begin to feel less seen, less visible. Maybe some of the things that signaled to us that we were seen are no longer happening. I remember one time specifically walking into one of our popular stores that we all shop, and it was all men who happened to be working in there that day, kind of young men. And I noticed they seemed to be helping everybody except me. And I just thought, nobody's noticing me. And I kind of even thought, like, am I invisible? Have you ever had that, like, you literally think, do I have a shield over me, like people can't see me? I remember recently too, I was at a conference with other influencers. At this conference, myself and another over 50 influencer were seated at a table with other influencers, but they were all probably in their 20s and 30s. And the purpose of this roundtable luncheon was that we were all supposed to dialogue and kind of get to know each other and learn from each other, learn from how each other did things in their businesses. But do you know, none of them spoke to me or the other woman over 50. And we both tried to talk to the people to my left and her right, but they just didn't seem interested in us. So once again, that was one of those situations where I did kind of feel like we just weren't visible. So I do think this is a real thing. I don't think it's like something we're making up. I think it's probably a combination of, we have that need to feel seen, and yet as we get older, maybe we do fade into the woodwork a little bit. So I do have some tips for how we can handle this situation. So stay with me all the way through. My first tip is that we really have to develop a thriving relationship with the one who sees us all the time. Now you know where I'm going with this. Ladies, I believe we have to have a thriving relationship with our God. I believe that we do have a Creator God who loves us and who keeps His eyes on us constantly. The Bible tells us that God always sees us. He never sleeps, He never slumbers, and we are always in His eye. There's a story, an account, a real life account of a woman in the early chapters of Genesis. She was a servant. She was nobody big or special, but she probably was lovely. And her mistress, kind of really abused her, used her and abused her, and then got angry at her. I'm talking about Hagar. You may recall the story of how Sarah, who was not having a child, and God had promised Sarah and Abraham a child, and they weren't having one. And so Sarah came up with the idea that Abraham should have relations with Hagar, and then she could have a child that way. Well, after he did that, Sarah became angry with Hagar. She didn't want her around anymore. She didn't want to see her. And she was really mean and ugly to her. And so Hagar left in tears and upset. And you know what? This is the time when God found Hagar. He went looking for her, and He told her, Hagar, I see you, and you are with child, and I want you to go back and I've got my eye on you, and I've got a plan for you, and I'm going to work things out for you, for your good. And Hagar, in that moment, in that incident in the Bible, she said, "You are El Roy, the God who sees." She felt seen. You know what? There are going to be days when we do not feel seen. There are going to be days like I had and that other influencer who was with me, we had when we felt like these young women around us did not see us. There are going to be days when we walk into a store and nobody helps us and we're going to feel unseen. But we need to know from morning to night and even in the night that there is one who always sees us, and that is God. He is ever mindful of us. Not only that, he sees us and he really sees us. You know what I mean? Like he sees, he knows your thoughts, he knows your intentions, he knows your attitude, he knows your past, he knows your future, he knows what's going on with you, and yet he loves you like crazy. So that's really something, to be seen that deeply and to still be loved. So that should bring us assurance. And I want to encourage you, something that I'm trying to do right now is to begin every morning during my time. I have a time when I read scripture and I pray and I meditate on the things I've read. And I'm really trying to take that time to say out loud even, "Lord, I know you see me, and I am grateful that throughout this day, even if I feel unnoticed by others, I know that you see me. You are El Roy." Ladies, we got to get that one nailed down first. My second tip, hang with me, this may sound mean. My second tip is we've got to examine our motives. We need to think about, why do we need to feel seen? Now, like I said, I believe this is a legitimate human need. I think it's very legitimate for us to either more feel need to be heard or the need to feel seen. So there's nothing wrong with this. This is not wicked. This is not sinful. But what is your motive for needing to feel seen? I think that sometimes we feel like we need to be seen because we want to be in control. We want to be the boss head. We want to dominate. We want to be the center of attention. And those are not right motives. On the other hand, if we want to be seen so that we can contribute, so that we can participate, so that we can share and maybe give some feedback and give some help and be of some service, then that's a good thing, right? So I think your motives, knowing what your motives are for wanting to be seen, will affect how the rest of these tips work out for you. And I think, once again, this is something that maybe we have to do a daily check on for a while, or maybe some real contemplation and really thinking it out. What is my motive for wanting to be seen? My tip number 3 is one that I did last night. And that is, I think we have to have an honest conversation about this with somebody, but not just a gripe session. I'm not just talking about getting together with your girlfriends and saying, "I feel invisible. I went to the store the other day and nobody waited on me," or "I sat at a table and all these 30-somethings didn't pay any attention to me." No. That's just a gripe session. I'm saying we need to have a real conversation with someone in your life who is very involved in your life. So that would be, for me, my spouse, my husband, or it might be for you, an adult daughter. It might be a good friend if you don't have a husband. I encourage us to have a real conversation where we talk and we listen with somebody else who could maybe help us with this. So here's how it went with me and my husband. I said to him, "Which do you need more? Do you need to feel heard more, or do you need to feel seen more?" And he said, "I need to feel heard." And I then explained to him everything I explained to you, what I learned and how I feel I need to feel seen. And I said to him, though, "You know what? I'm going to try to honor that more. I am going to try to make you feel heard." You know, I've noticed that there are times when James will say to me, "You're interrupting me. You just keep interrupting me." And I would like to argue against that, but the thing is, it's the truth. Sometimes I do interrupt him. And now that I understand that he needs to feel heard, then I understand why he's a little bit more sensitive about that maybe than I am. So I'm trying to not interrupt, and I'm trying to listen more intently. And I've noticed already that he is trying to acknowledge me when I walk in a room or say something about my appearance, say that I look nice or that he notices my haircut or something like that. So when you have a conversation with somebody like that, then you can maybe say, hey, I'll help to meet your need if you will help to meet my need. And let's work on this together. I think that might help us. Tip number 4 is about everything I do here and at my blog, and that is get dressed for your day. The whole reason I started Dress for My Day, I guess about 6 years ago now, is because I really felt like there were women who were not getting dressed for their day, including me most of the time. And therefore, I wasn't showing up. And you know what? I can't expect other people to notice me, to acknowledge me when I walk into a room, or to look up and look me in the eye and pay attention to me if I don't even bother to put myself together a little bit. So I really do encourage us to get dressed for our day. And yes, if you're staying at home like a lot of us do these days, then that may just mean putting on some pretty loungewear or some pretty athleisure wear, something that coordinates, a jeans and a nice sweater and some cute shoes. You know, just doing our best to look our best. And that may mean putting on some lipstick and then that City Beauty City Lips Lip Plumper on top of it, and putting on some mascara, that Beyond mascara, just putting forward your best foot. So make sure you get dressed for your day. I think that's really important if we want to keep showing up. My 5th tip is to wear clothes and outfits that fit and flatter your body. Now, first of all, I think sometimes women feel like they're invisible, but honestly, I think sometimes they are hiding behind their clothes. And you know, and I know, we've seen women who literally look like you don't see them because you just see big baggy clothes, or they're just they're just kind of invisible because truly they're not wearing any color. They're wearing things that don't fit them. They're just kind of hanging on them. And so that's not good. And you know what? There's probably a reason for that. There may be some things going on in here, that cause this person to wear things that don't fit. But I'm encouraging you to make sure your clothes fit, because when your clothes fit, you are going to show up more. You have more of a presence in the room if your clothes are hanging on your body correctly. You know, if your shoulder seams are at your shoulders, you pull mine up. If your waistband fits correctly, if your pants or your dress, everything's the right length, if it's just fitting you correctly across your torso, that's really important. But it doesn't stop there. I think it's not just a matter of wearing clothes that fit our bodies, like technically that fits me, but also clothes that flatter. You know, it's important, I think, in this day and age, there are different ways that clothes can flatter. Everything does not have to be a form-fitting, hourglass silhouette either. There are times when we are going to wear clothes that are more relaxed fit. That's a very in style right now. But we want to make sure that we're wearing something that's supposed to be relaxed fit as a relaxed fit, right? So, and then when we do that, there are still ways, like with a little tuck or a front tuck or a full tuck, adding a belt, just making sure that things are hemmed to the right length for us. Maybe doing a little style hack like rolling your sleeves up, or wearing your collar in a certain way that make your clothes flatter you more. So if you struggle with that, I get it. I do too. I really do. So I'm working at trying to help us all learn some tips, some ways to make our clothes flatter us more. So hang with me here at Dress for My Day. That's one of the big things we do, really, is just talk about how to wear our outfits and our clothes so that they flatter us more. Spend some time reading some of my blog posts, hang here with me in my videos, and we'll learn how to wear clothes that fit and flatter so that we can show up our best. Number 6 is to wear color strategically. Now, obviously, color helps us to show up, and I love my neutrals, and maybe I know many of you do too, and I don't think that means that we can't show up or we can't be seen when we wear neutrals. In fact, I think we can also wear neutrals strategically. There's a way to wear neutrals Like, for instance, here I'm wearing all gray, but I still think I show up pretty well here because of some of the other things I've got going on. I'm wearing some gray things that fit me, and they do flatter me. And I've done some little style hacks here that make it work. And here I'm wearing some neutrals, but I've dressed them in a way that still flatters me. So you can certainly wear, neutrals, I think, and still be seen. But boy, if you really need to be seen, let's say you are going to a conference, you are going for a job interview, you have a meeting, a presentation to make that day, or you just need to feel seen, right? Sometimes we just need to feel seen. Then definitely wear some color, but do it strategically. I have noticed too that sometimes I think that when women feel like they're not being seen, they'll overdo it. Like they just wear a lot of color, or they wear just maybe a lot of patterns, a lot of stuff going on. And that makes me wonder, do they really want to be seen, or are they hiding behind all that color and all those patterns and everything? So just wearing a lot of color is not the answer. We need to know how to wear it strategically. So, one thing we can do is we can wear a column of color, because that's so striking, that's noticeable. We could also wear color blocking. That means when you're wearing one color up top, like I am here with this outfit, I'm wearing a lot of purple up top, purple and lavender up top, and then I've got gray at the bottom. So I've really color blocked, and I've intensified the color up top. That's one of my favorite style hacks, is to wear the same color of like a turtleneck or a sweater or a blouse, and then add that same color in a jacket or outerwear. It just intensifies. So those are some ways to wear color strategically so that you show up and you look your best. Remember, it's not about walking in the room and everybody seeing, oh, there's the purple. We want to walk into the room and people say, oh, there's Kay. We want them to see us, not just the color. So we want to do the things to be strategic about wearing color. And the next tip is kind of along the same lines, and that is to wear things that frame you. I think it's really important just to even keep that concept in mind as I'm putting together outfits. Like when I look in the mirror, after I've put something on, I look in the mirror, I need to say, do I just see my outfit, or do I see me? There's a difference, right, between an outfit framing my face and showing off my figure, my body, and kind of setting, framing me, just presenting me. Or they're like, here comes the outfit, here comes the red coat. There's a difference. So just kind of make a mental note of that and tuck that aside. And as you're getting dressed each day, as you do that final check on an outfit, you've put something together, ask yourself that. Does this outfit that I've put together, does it frame me, or does it just like walk into the room before I do even? And there's also other ways to do that too, like maybe with your hairstyle, does it frame your face nicely? Do you have on some pretty earrings that also add some light around your face, maybe some jewelry around your face? Does your neckline frame your face nicely, set your face off? So those are just some things to think about as you are putting together outfits in a way that will put you forward and not the outfit. Number 8 is, going back a little bit, mentioned like just too much going on in an outfit, and that is resist the urge to overcompensate. When we feel like we're not seen, or maybe you feel like you're not heard, I think the tendency could be to like just be loud, right? When you feel like you're not being heard in a room, what do? Lots of times we raise our voices. And it's the same thing, we can do that visually too though, right? We can be loud visually, and I've seen women be loud visually. Now look, I'm not saying not to wear a lot of color, and I'm not saying to not wear a lot of patterns, because your personal style aesthetic may be color, and it may be bold color, and it may be bold patterns, and there is nothing wrong with that. If that is your personal style aesthetic, that's fine. But we want to learn to do that in a way still that flatters and that frames. And if we go back to those, what's my motive here? If my motive is to be seen in order to dominate or in order to be the center of attention, then my bet is that person is more likely to be just like piling on the jewelry and piling on the color and piling on the makeup and like just being seen, like just overcompensating. And you know what I've discovered though, ladies, is I've discovered that when a woman overcompensates, yeah, I see her, but then I quickly want to forget her. Like, I don't want to see that woman too long. It's like if you just ate sugar all day long, right? It's just too much. And so sometimes that may be what happens is a woman overcompensates for that feeling that she's not being seen by being loud, whether that's being loud with her voice or being loud visually, and it's a turnoff. And then therefore people kind of push her aside, or they don't want to pay attention to her, or they don't acknowledge her, or they don't interact with her because it's a turnoff. And so I think we have to consider that, have I been overcompensating in some way, maybe by wearing provocative clothes, things that maybe show too much, maybe by wearing things just too much color, just too much. Have you ever done that, or maybe you've seen that? And I don't want us to start judging or pointing fingers. That's not what this is about. Let's just point at ourselves. So let's just think about ourselves. Have I overcompensated? And I think I need to resist the urge to overcompensate. Number 9 is show up. You're talking about not being seen, but sometimes that's because we're not showing up. Keep going to church, keep participating in conversations, keep volunteering in your community, keep participating with your friend group, go out to lunch, invite people over, interact with people. Remember, it's not just about being the center of attention or being noticed, but it's about showing up and being seen so that we can contribute. So I encourage you to show up, to take part in the conversation, to do something, like to put your hands in there and get them dirty and contribute to what's going on around you. But also, I really encourage us to serve. Serving may sound menial. It may sound, like that's not what I want to be seen. I don't want to serve. But you know what? We notice servants, don't we? I do. I notice them because I'm grateful for them. I notice people who serve in my church. I notice people who serve where I work. I notice people who are doing for other people and who are not just focused on themselves. So I think we need to keep showing up and participating. And number 10 is kind of that, you get what you give out there, and that is notice other people more. Let's be that woman who notices other people. Let's be the woman who, when we're sitting at the table with 10 people and they're all younger than us, we say, hello, I'd like to know you. What's your name? That's what I had to do with the girl sitting beside me at that table. I had to just get her attention and ask her some questions. And you know what? I don't think she ever asked a single thing about me, but I asked and I asked and I asked about her. And that's okay. That's okay. Sometimes maybe the best thing we can contribute is just listening and noticing other people. Let's be the woman who always notices when somebody else walks into the room and we welcome them, we acknowledge them, we say hello. Let's be the woman who when somebody sits down at a table, we're already in conversation and somebody else sits down at the table, we stop and we say, hello, Joan, do you know Cindy? Have you met her? Y'all go to the same fitness center. Let's connect people. Let's be that woman who notices other people, who thinks about how they feel and how they feel seen. Let's be that woman who engages other people in conversation with us. And I think that if we do that, if we kind of take our focus off of ourselves and make it our job to focus on other people and help them feel seen or feel heard, then in the long run, I bet we'll start feeling more seen as well. So those are my 10 tips. I kind of think there's something there. What do you think? I would love to hear your response today. I'd like for us to have some dialogue about this in the comments below. So please let me know, first of all, if there's one or two of these tips that resonated with you more than others. Let me know if you've experienced this, if you think this might get us going on the right path. I'd really love to hear your thoughts today. Don't forget though to check out the Cyber Week special of 40% off at City Beauty. Go through that link below to enter their Cyber Week specials, and I think you're going to love those City Beauty products. I sure do. Thank you for joining me today, ladies, and I want to wish you a very happy Thanksgiving. Be safe. Engage with your family and friends. I want you to know I'm very grateful for you, and I will see you again actually in just a couple of days. Bye now.